I'm Catherine Gorgeous, and we're here today to have a conversation about the best practices in consulting research that Women in Consulting has done. And I have with me today Ellen Grace Henson, who's the current president of Women in Consulting and also has her own consulting business, Marketing Mechanics. And Ellen Grace did a lot of work on the overall insights in the research. And then Deb Siegel, who led the analytical side of the research. Deb is a past president of Women in Consulting and has her own business doing research for people and analysis, strategic marketing solutions. So say hello, Ellen Grace and Deb.
Hi, good to be here, Catherine. Thanks so much.
Yeah, good to have you.
And hello, everyone, too. Catherine, it's great to be here.
Thanks, Deb. Okay, so we're going to have a Q&A format and just some conversation to give you some ideas of what's in the best practices report and what kinds of insights we got this year from this research. And I'm Catherine Gorgeous. I'm programs director for Women in Consulting this year, 2018, and happy to be here. So the first question we have for Ellen Grace and Deb Siegel is, what would you say is the most notable takeaway of this year's Best Practices in Consulting report?
Well, Catherine, we're very excited that the Best Practices report shows consulting continues to be a vibrant, engaging, and profitable career. Generally, our respondents have seen upward trends in revenue and profitability, giving them the incentive to invest in themselves and their businesses. It's very exciting content.
Okay, great. And what were some of the trends in the consulting business that you discovered from the responses?
Hey, Deb, why don't you address that?
Happy to. Just as Ellen mentioned, one of the biggest trends we saw was an increased investment in their businesses and in themselves as consultants. So consultants were increasing their skill sets, whether it was learning a new skill or whether it was augmenting and upping their game with an existing skill. They also invested in their business in terms of infrastructure, tools, and support systems. And this was at an increased level than prior. Another trend that we saw was an increase in the focus on value and outcomes instead of activities and functional offerings. Now, that's always been something the top earners have done, but we were seeing more and more of the consultants across the board focusing on this. And in fact, focus on value and outcomes was our #2 best practice for this year's research. A third trend was there was more awareness amongst the consultants about how critical it was for them and is for them to stay relevant to their clients. And I think this feeds that first trend about investing in themselves and their business.
All right, great, thank you. So what insights are in the report? There's a full-scale report actually that's available for purchase from Women in Consulting. So that's what we're referring to here. So what insights are in the report about challenges that consulting businesses face today?
Well, what we've discovered is that one of the biggest challenges consultants have is really finding the time to work on their business as well as in their business. You know, a lot of people start consulting businesses because they really enjoy the work and they haven't necessarily run a business previously. So one of the biggest learnings early in the career is that you really have to carve out that time to work on the business. Things like developing new opportunities, expanding services, developing strong relationships with decision makers. These all take time and attention. As a matter of fact, new consultants often see a dip in their revenues after their first year, because they haven't yet learned the lessons of focusing on developing their business.
And how has that changed over time?
Well, frankly, Catherine, opportunities have really continued to expand since the last downturn in 2008, and fee pressures have lessened some. So because of this, time pressures have increased, and the need to carve out that time or the challenges sometimes are even harder than they have been in previous years.
Are there any recommendations from the report about how to handle these challenges?
You know, there's a lot of very rich content in the report on how to be more effective in managing your business. Some of it includes business efficiencies, how to increase business efficiencies, including subcontracting out administrative tasks or other internal to the business work. And in terms of expanding your ability to deliver on the business, a lot of our respondents are subcontracting out work to other consultants who have complementary skill sets, thus enabling them to expand the types of services they offer and more broadly attract clients.
Okay, so are there any nuggets in the report or in the research generally about how to effectively market a consulting business?
I'll take that one, Catherine.
Okay, great.
Nice job, Deb.
And there are actually quite a few nuggets in the report. Let me just name three. First is just always be doing something related to business development, even when you're in the midst of your projects. Earmark time to do something, whatever that is. The second would be to develop strong strategic relationships, which is actually our number 2 best practice this year. And then the third would be to always be differentiating. Be very clear on your value and what is unique about what you deliver to the clients and what they need, and be able to articulate that very clearly and succinctly.
Great. Well, this is great information and all stuff that's actionable by all of us in our consulting businesses, even if we're already doing it. Are there any other things that you haven't mentioned that a consulting business owner could learn from this report?
Well, certainly from a technique standpoint, we have many different techniques included in the report, but again, just trying to look at some high-level things to surface now. One technique for marketing your business is to be visible. That can be through networking, through speaking, writing, your online presence. And actually being visible is the number 1 best practice that we're recommending based on the research we had this year. A second technique, which was mentioned more prominently this year than in past years, is to be in service to others, to volunteer. And of course, the benefit of what you're doing to volunteer makes an impact. But a number of people also mentioned that this often provided a path to establish a strategic relationship. And then a third technique is to really nurture your own self-esteem and confidence. Make time in your day or your week to fuel and your self-esteem and confidence, and be really clear about your belief in yourself and what you offer. That really comes across when you market.
Great. How about anything using social media? Is that appropriate for consulting businesses? Are people getting anything out of that?
They are, although the use of social media for their own businesses is declining over time. That is something we need to look into more, whether that's an issue of the cobbler's children not having shoes, or shoes that are not in good repair. In other words, we're doing the work for the clients, but not ourselves, or if the consultants don't feel it is as beneficial to their businesses. We don't know that perspective, but what we did find was that 97% of the consultants actually use LinkedIn, and 90% of them feel it's effective. So if you're not engaging in LinkedIn, do, and figure out ways to spend more time on LinkedIn. It's a great avenue for visibility and for thought leadership. Now, there are many other things that the report lists in terms of other techniques to market, and in particular around how LinkedIn could be used in social media. So make sure you check this information out in the report.
Great, thanks, Deb.
I'd like to add a little bit more about the value of volunteering and being in service to others. I have found in my career that volunteering has really helped me develop or deepen existing relationships and develop new relationships that have then led to business opportunities. And The satisfaction of volunteering is very strong, of course, and seeing the work you do have a social impact as well as a business impact. And the strong side benefit is building those relationships for future business opportunities. I've seen that both with the volunteer work I've done for women in consulting and continue to do for women in consulting, and also volunteer work I've done through other organizations offering my services pro bono to nonprofit organizations.
Great, thanks. Yes, and I think all of us that have done volunteer work, pro bono work for women in consulting and other organizations, it just is great for extending networks and also building your own skills and just being in the game in a different way at a higher level. So thanks for sharing that, Ellen Grace. Is there a profile that you kind of pulled out of this research of what a successful consulting business looks like? What do they have going on? What are some things that set them apart from others?
That's a great question, Catherine. Thanks so much. First, I want to say that consulting businesses take many forms. Some consultants are solopreneurs, and perhaps they have a network of other consultants that they collaborate with on projects. Other consultants build out a business with several W-2 employees, and the consulting that people do can vary widely. A lot of consultants are coaches or strategic consultants or people who deliver a lot of tactical work on behalf of their clients. Consulting as a career varies widely, both from the nature of the work and the structure of the company. What we do see as the common thread or the common threads for successful consultants is that confidence that Deb was stressing earlier, the importance of really understanding and appreciating the value that you bring to your clients, the focus on the relationship with the client and delivering outcomes that they will value, and also building that ecosystem of relationships, personal relationships to help feed your life, feed your confidence, people who can really be supportive in a broader sense, and also those business relationships, those trusted relationships that you can collaborate with people on building out your business as well as theirs. So again, it's really about having the confidence, delivering value that your clients need, and having a strong ecosystem of supportive relationships.
Great, thanks. Are there other areas that you had some learnings from this research about consulting businesses and being successful that we haven't covered that are in the report and would be available to people in the report?
Hey, Deb, I think you've got a lot of insight into that, so I'm really looking forward to what you have to say on that point.
Well, I was thinking as you were speaking, Catherine, that really the report itself is completely addressing that very question. That's one of the purposes of why we do this. And for example, continuing on the line of the profiles, we segment out the top earners with the research we've done, and we compare, we use them as benchmarks pretty much to everything that we surveyed. And the point of that is to identify the differences and gaps and highlight what others can do to further grow their consulting businesses. We also highlight the differences that we saw between some of the men consultants and women consultants, and that information is actually very fascinating. In the report, there's also the full list of our best practices, which are meant to help you grow and sustain and have a successful business. We also share the revenue, the profit, and the fee trends that were reported, along with how to increase and maintain your fees. And one of the things we asked was, what was the top advice you'd give to other consultants about how to generate new business? So that's all included in the report. There's much more, of course. These are just a few of the areas that help build a successful consulting business. It's a very insightful report, chock full of information that you can tailor to your own business and your own success.
Great, thanks. That makes me excited to read the whole report. I think I've only scanned part of it. So thanks for that overview of it. So one last question. And by the way, I will make sure that we give you, our audience, information about how you can get that report. You can look in the description below the video here, and then we'll also put a link in that area for you to go to. Okay, so one last question. So what is it that Women in Consulting as an organization hopes to accomplish by continuing this work and the work that's been done over the 16 years of gathering this research?
For 20 years, Women in Consulting has been a nonprofit providing education and mutual support across our membership for building successful businesses. The work we do in identifying best practices provides a strong foundation for our programs, for our members to learn from each other, and for our members to work with each other in the development of thriving businesses. We're very excited about what we've learned in the last 16 years, and we look forward to continuing with this work. And our members consistently feel very positive about the results in the report that we publish, and our programs reflect the quality and the importance of the research as well.
Thanks, Ellen Grace. I would like to add something there, is that I think my first experience with the Best Practices Report was in 2011. And it was when I had been in business, I don't know, less than 5 years. And that the information in the report made all the difference for me in creating more successful business. It gave me insights that I couldn't get anywhere else. And I wouldn't have the success that I have today, I don't think, at all without that, without those insights, in addition to the relationships and the experiences I've gotten by being involved with the organization. But this research is really valuable in building a business. So I just wanted to add that, and thank you, both of you, for all of your work that you did this year in pulling this together, and the rest of the team. There's a big team that pulled this together. So any last thoughts that either of you have, Deb, Ellen, Grace, that you want to add?
I would just say get the report. As Catherine just said, and did Ellen, it really is meant to help you and fine-tune and grow your business and give you even more success. And that's why we do it.
I'd like to add that we're expanding some of the interaction and programmatic content around the Best Practices Report. We've created a Facebook group, a private group, and if you have access to the report, either by taking the survey previously this year or by purchasing the report, you now can become a member of this very vibrant, highly interactive Facebook group where participants will continue to share their experiences in building a successful business and continue to support each other collaboratively in seeing everyone thrive as consultants. I hope you'll join us in that Facebook group.
Yeah, thanks. Yes, and you'll be seeing me in that Facebook group. The intention is to have regularly hold live, Facebook Live interviews with case studies with consultants that have used the best practices to see what it looks like. Just small sessions to kind of give an insider view of what it looks like to put those best practices in place. So once again, look for the link in the description of the video or in the comments, and get your report today, and definitely participate next year. So thanks for joining us.